So you've decided to move to the Phoenix area and you're wondering, do you want to maybe live in an adult community? What exactly does that mean? What are the benefits and what are the negatives? Well, I'm going to cover them in detail right after this. Stay tuned. Hello, this is Sheryl Willis over at the Real Agent Now group right here in Phoenix. And if you are thinking of moving to the greater Phoenix area and you're looking for information, more specifically 55 plus community or not, we want to be your go-to to answer all your questions, but we can't do that unless you pick up that phone. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Days, nights, or weekends, we got your back when moving to Phoenix, Arizona. Let's get at this right now. Okay, so you're an empty nester and you're thinking about moving to the greater Phoenix area and you're trying to decide adult community or not. You've heard about some communities that have crazy rules and some of them don't allow children. There's a lot of different things and it's really not black and white. There's not one exact way that each community runs. They're all very different. In the state of Arizona, there's over 150 adult communities. And just in the greater Phoenix area, there's over 70. So there's a lot to choose from. Adult communities started with the Del Webb community in Sun City in 1960. So we've been working on this for a good 60 plus years now. And by George, they've got it right. So there's all kinds of different adult communities, but is an adult community, any of them, right for you? Let's talk about those pros and cons, and we'll talk about a little bit about some of my favorites. The first one is obviously an adult community is geared towards 55 and above. Now, we all know that today's 55 is very different than it was in the 60s. Let me tell you, I remember when I turned 30 and I felt like I was getting old. Well, this girl right here is 58 years old, and I personally don't think I'm ready to live in an adult community. Now, does that mean I wouldn't necessarily enjoy some of their social aspects? I'm getting close, that's for sure. But it really depends on where you are personally at in your life over that 55. There is so many benefits, and we're going to go through. I think the one thing that really comes top of mind is, as an adult, I don't want to live around screaming children. I don't want to have barking dogs. I don't want to have just some of the carelessness that goes with raising a family. And I'm not by any means saying that's a bad thing, but when you served your time. I raised a family of 5, and I remember, running around and baseball games and cheerleading practice and brownies, then Girl Scout, and then football. It was a lot. Kids coming in and out. I've served my time, and I like my peace and quiet. And when I go out in my beautiful backyard and enjoy our amazing sunsets, I want to have a little peace and quiet to myself. So for those reasons, a 55 plus community would be mucho bueno. Now, one of the cons is most of the adult communities are in very remote areas. Sun City, which is the furthest northwest, very first adult community here in the greater Phoenix area, built in the 1960s. And let me tell you, when I moved here in the 90s, there was a clear separation between Phoenix and Sun City, and now it kind of blends. So there's Sun City West, there's Sun City Grand, now there's Sun City Festival, and then there's other communities that are in Sun City. It is literally a city of its own and encompasses, truly, the city name is Sun City, and also parts of Surprise. And again, if you go to that northwest part of the greater Phoenix area, even if you're not in the adult community, you feel like you're in an adult community. All the restaurants, all the stores, all the streets, all the parking lots are all retirees. Now, because this is an older part of the greater Phoenix area, again, built in the 1960s, started in the 1960s, you do tend to see a more older population in this area. That is not necessarily the case throughout the greater Phoenix area where some of these are, so where the other ones are. So again, if you're thinking of an adult community, you're going to be amongst a lot of retirees if you choose the Northwest Valley. If you are looking at some of the other areas, like even Sun Lakes, which is in the Southeast Valley, is adjacent to the city of Chandler. And when I say adjacent, I don't mean 10, 20, 30 miles. I mean literally across the street. Like if you are on Alma School and Chandler Heights, on the southeast corner, it's adult community, but on the northwest corner, it is regular, no requirements. So all the stores, there's schools, there's tons of kids, but at the same time, if you stay in your neighborhood, you're not going to have any kids. But if you want to be part of the normal Phoenix area, normal amenities, shopping, freeway, medical care, it's all available in Sun Lakes. Now, again, it depends on the area you go to. Like for instance, another one that I absolutely love is an area called Verrado. And Verrado is in Buckeye. So we're back on the west part of the valley. Now, I love Verrado because it's a cute little town outside of the greater Phoenix area, and they're just building it now. So it's brand new construction. They're actually rebuilding the desert still. What do I mean by that? When these communities, the newer ones especially, they are building up usually against absolutely beautiful, majestic mountain views. And so in order to get the construction, unfortunately, they damage a lot of the desert. So after they get their walkways, their pathways, their golf courses in, they build back the desert. And let me tell you, that is some gorgeous desert with beautiful mountain backdrop. That community is called Victory, and they have 5 different series, all different price points. I just can't tell you enough. I love Victory, but it's a little pricey. All right, so let's go to the next pro, and that is the social activities. Whoa, let me tell you, I just had a client that moved into Sun City. We got her an absolutely perfect home for her. It's a patio home, so it has an HOA that maintains the exterior of the building, including the roof. So as an older woman and not really wanting that responsibility, it's really nice that the HOA takes care of it. She also has immediate neighbors just in case of an emergency, smaller, easier maintainable property. Now, this particular home that we sold her was built in the 70s, but it was immaculately cared for. That's one great thing about the elderly. They seem to take very good care of things. So right down the street on Hutton, there is a massive clubhouse, and I'm talking 7 days a week. There is so much going on. Now, she might want to invest in a little golf cart so she could drive on down, but she could also walk. We found her the perfect house. Some people think that Sun City is a little too old for them, but I'll tell you, there's so many social activities. It's insane. From bocce ball to golf to pickleball to, I can't even remember all the things. There's an automotive like rebuilding club. There's card, there's bunco, things I've never even heard of. I mean, literally a list of hundreds of things. I asked her when we started looking, I said, are you a social person? Because if she wasn't, that wasn't going to be important. She said, I don't have any friends out there, and so I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people, and yes, I like trying new things. I'm like, so we found her a place in her price point. It's so exciting when that happens. So again, I love the social activities for the 55 plus communities. Now here's the con though. I mentioned that the HOA takes care of the exterior of the building and the roof, even the front yard landscaping, and she had just this little patio. Here's the negative. Whoa, are they strict. You can't move a tree. If your tree dies, you better hurry up and get one in there, but you got to get it approved first. If you want to have anything done that changes the front of your property, you have to have HOA approval. Now, there is HOAs through the majority of the greater Phoenix area. HOA rules to the T. And the volunteers that are driving around to make sure you're compliant, that's what they love to do. So you got a lot of Karens in the HOAs with the adult communities, so as long as you follow the rules, you'll be A-okay. All right, here's another pro about 55 plus, lower price points. The lower price points, we're gonna go straight to the con with this, and that is you get lower prices with extremely high HOA and transfer and capital improvement and membership fees. I'm telling you, Some of these communities are pretty darn pricey. Trilogy. There are several trilogies in the entire greater Phoenix area, some of which are completely built, and so they're only resale homes, and there are still some trilogies that have resale and new construction. One of them that I absolutely love is Encantera. Encantera is one of the newer ones. It was built in 2018, and it's in Santan Valley. And if you haven't seen my other video, I did a video on Santan Valley, so you should check that out. This particular community is great price point. I love the proximity to the mountains, so it's quiet. It's not close enough that you're hiking, but it's not too far away from the national forest and parks that you can go hiking at. But the prices are super affordable. Again, relatively new, very low maintenance, so they're going to be fantastic on energy efficiency. Also negative though for Encantera, they're not really near a hospital. You got to consider that, especially if you are in the older age. But here's the thing. Here's the part I don't like about it. It's almost a $600 a month HOA fee, and on top of that, you have to pay the social club membership up front, which is, last time I checked, was $8,000. That's part of your closing costs when you buy in there, and 80% of it is returned when you sell. So although it's really low, maybe on the $350 price point, you have astronomical fees and membership fees, and remember, that is not tax deductible, so no bueno. That is something you want to consider when you're shopping at 55 plus, because they're all different. There are some lower ones, and then again, Trilogy is known for having some of the highest. All right, here's another pro about if you're comparing Arizona to another state as far as retirement, and that our overall population, which we're now over 5 million people, and they anticipate that we will be 1 million more population over the next 8 to 10 years. So we are growing like crazy. Only less than 12% of our entire population is of retirement age. So although we have a lot of retirement, we also have a lot of non-retirement kind of intertwined. And so you still have a lot of young life and experiences and entertainment and activities and things going on. Unlike places like Florida, as I understand it, the population there is almost 1/3 retirement. And even if you don't live in an adult community, you feel like you live in an adult community because there's so many retirees in Florida. So I love the fact that we are a very young state. And so even if you are of the older age, you just don't feel older. All right, here's a major con for Phoenix, July and August. Now it's interesting. I have a client that just moved here from Nevada, and they were like, really? We lived in Las Vegas and we had 4 months of bad weather in Las Vegas. And I was like, well, what were the 4 months? And they said July, August, September, and October. And I said, well, September's a little toasty warm still in the middle of the day, but when the sun goes down, so does our temperature. We are the desert. Now I know Las Vegas kind of is too, but I think that a lot of their heat comes from a lot of the concrete that they have there. And I can't talk about Las Vegas or Nevada, but I can tell you about Arizona. And by September, the evenings are wonderful, like absolutely wonderful. You can go jogging at 6 o'clock in the morning and still get to work on time. I would not start jogging at 9 a.m. until the winter time. But for me anyways, most people in an older age, we realize, it's funny because when I was a kid, my dad was like, get up. You're never going to be able to do anything in life if you sleep till noon. Don't we all go through that as teenagers? But as we get older, we're like, hey, you know, I'm a lot more productive if I wake up in the morning. So I love waking up in the morning, and I'll tell you, mornings are my favorite time of the day, no matter what season it is here in the greater Phoenix area. So waking up at 6 a.m. and going for your run in September and October, no problem. Tell you any different? July and August is toasty warm. That's a great time to go home and visit family. The last pro that I want to cover, and that is the overall taxes and benefits living in the greater Phoenix area. This isn't necessarily 55 plus, but we have lower income tax. We are a flat 2.5% income tax, and Social Security is not taxed at all. Lower property taxes as a whole in the greater Phoenix area, but in the adult communities, many of them have much lower property taxes because the school tax has been taken out. Sales tax and overall cost of living is significantly less than any of the larger metropolitan areas. Now, if we go to the con, which is in direct correlation, but at the same time, it almost kind of, I don't want to say cross it out. Affordability in the greater Phoenix area has definitely changed over the last couple of years with the massive amount of people that have moved here to the greater Phoenix area and that demand that we have had even before COVID. The prices have gone up significantly. But again, we're not the most affordable state, but I'll tell you, the most affordable state for retirement are like Mississippi, Indiana, Arkansas, Ohio. We have people moving here from those places. So you got to pick your, what's more important. You got to weigh your own pros and cons. We would love to help you by answering your specific questions. We get one-off questions all the time, but we're not going to be able to answer them unless you pick up that phone. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, days, nights, or weekends. We want to be your go-to when you have questions and when you're thinking about moving to the greater Phoenix area. All right, guys. Until next time, I'll see you. Be kind and enjoy 2023.